Welcome to another episode of New Game Plus. I'm your host, Jason, and we live in a very different world than we did 2 weeks ago when we were filming. So hopefully you're out there staying safe, but what you can do is stay with us. I'm dying. See, it's all corona, but it doesn't matter. What you can do is stay with us and watch the episode. We have the recommended. Jamie's got one of his great little recommended segments. We have quiz time event, and we have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. But for now, something completely different.
Denizens of Idle Hell, rejoice! A brand new LoveLive game is upon us. LoveLive School Idol Festival All-Stars is the latest game released for iOS and Android devices, and it brings all your favorite school idols, not to be confused with regular old idols, plus 9 all-new ones into the exciting world of the third dimension. That's right, you can now see all your favorite school idols dancing to all your favorite LoveLive songs. Rejoice! By far the most interesting about the game is that it's designed more as an RPG than a rhythm game. So leveling up your girls and focusing on good team comp is way more important than just tapping the screen to the beat. Because even if you can play the game decently enough, you'll need to build up your team to battle the most deadly thing to a school idol's career, this game's stamina meter. Unlike in other rhythm games, every time you tap the screen and hit a successful note, you not only add to your score, but you'll also drain your stamina bar. It's entirely possible to fail a song despite not missing a single note. And that's such a bizarre thing that I'm not convinced it's a great idea. But it's a good incentive to ensure your team is built up well enough to tackle every song. The game also serves as an introduction to the new girls of the Nijigasaki High School Idol Club, which serves as more of an idol collective. Their focus is more on individual performances than being a group. The story's fine enough, but expect it to become a bigger deal when their anime hits later this year. Otherwise, look, it's a decent enough game if you need your LoveLive fix. Keep in mind it is a free-to-play game, so expect tons of gacha, events, and logo bonuses. And if that's not for you, look, I could totally understand. But right now, it's keeping me trapped in idle hell for just that little bit longer. And I guess it's not a bad thing?
Welcome to the sun-drenched tropical paradise of Isle Delfino. We're so pleased to welcome you to our beautiful home. Come enjoy a natural wonderland to which we've added the world's finest resort facilities, a spectacular amusement park, and succulent seafood.
One of the major beliefs I have in gaming is that no matter what, there really hasn't been a bad Super Mario game. For over 30 years, Mario has delighted and entertained, and has been a part of many timeless memories for players. And yet for all the versions of the series I would happily extol, there's one entry I'd always never quite understood, that being 2002's Super Mario Sunshine. Super Mario Sunshine is the GameCube Super Mario platformer, and falls into an incredibly weird spot. It's the middle child between two of the most widely regarded and beloved entries in the Super Mario series. It's the follow-up from Super Mario 64, the game that established how 3D platformers should be, and you'd be hard-pressed to find any platformer, let alone any game these days, that's not taking any lessons from this. It also precedes Super Mario Galaxy, one of the most majestic and revolutionary 3D platformers ever made, with some fantastic level design and amazing music. It gave Nintendo so many ideas that they went ahead and released a sequel with all the ideas they wanted to implement in that first game. Sunshine naturally fixes one of the biggest issues of Super Mario 64, in that the camera is freely controllable thanks to having a second analog stick. What the Galaxy games take away from Sunshine is a bit more interesting, effectively an overall refinement and sense of polish, while being weirder and more experimental, something that practically defines Super Mario Sunshine, mostly due to the part that Sunshine removes mostly all of Mario's moves from Mario 64. So instead of crouch jumping or long jumping, you now have Flood, a water tank and water gun system. While Mario has a pretty cool spin jump, he makes up for the emissions with a hover move thanks to one of the attachments, plus others that allow him to rocket across and above levels. Mario can't punch enemies, he just sprays them with water instead. Effectively, it's a good showcase of the GameCube controller thanks to the pressure-sensitive triggers. Now, if all this sounds like a regression, especially after Mario 64 had basically defined how 3D games should feel and play like, yeah, I can understand that, but honestly, it feels like a genuine challenge. Mastering Mario's movements is what makes Mario Sunshine feel fascinating to me. It's not quite as precise or accurate as other Mario games, but it feels satisfying mastering what Mario can do with his new toy. And just when you think you've got the movement with Flood down, then there are the levels where Mario doesn't have Flood to help correct or propel him, which sounds daunting, but incredibly satisfying to tackle. Coupled with some truly abstract level and visual design, and they become some of the best moments in Super Mario Sunshine. What doesn't work as well as the story. Sunshine is the first game to really focus on including a deeper story in the Mario universe, and the first to also use a lot of voice acting. The unskippable results leave a lot to be desired.
Leave my mama alone, you bad man. I won't let you take Mama Peach away.
Mama Peach? I'm your mama?
I judge the defendant guilty as charged.
I hereby order the defendant to clean this entire island. Until Isle Delfino is completely free of his vile handiwork, Mario shall not be allowed to leave.
Thank you for purchasing this item from Gad Science Incorporated. Preparing to register customer information. Scanning and classifying subject data. Subject identified as Mario, resident of the Mushroom Kingdom. Data storage complete.
With that being said, allow me to address something you're probably thinking. For a series about recommending games that you might not have heard of or might not have played, why recommend something from a series you've basically described as being consistently great? You see, the thing is that Super Mario Sunshine and I have never really gotten along. Every time I hear an argument about why it's this great game, I scoff, but I go try the game again anyway because surely I know I'm wrong and I've missed something. I mean, I know I'm wrong on this. We're talking about Super Mario here. How can a Mario game not be good? Every time I've attempted to get some progress into Mario Sunshine, I get around 15-30 minutes in before I give up and tell that person why they're wrong, and I swear off Sunshine, rinse and repeat over the last few years. This time, I've kind of stuck with it. What's changed, I honestly couldn't tell you. I've spent hours just thinking about why after all this time Super Mario Sunshine just clicks, and I've never really come up with an answer that I'm actually happy with. The genuine and honest answer as to what changed my mind this time, well, it's the same story as always. I hear someone talking about it, I got the idea to go play it, and I started playing it again because surely I'm missing something. The difference is this time, for some strange, bizarre reason that I cannot actually explain, it's actually clicked. I'm still not fully convinced it's a hidden gem though. The camera can be a bit too fiddly and frustrating at times, even though you can fully rotate it. The controls can feel a little loose at times, but until you get used to it. It also doesn't feel like it's much more of an improvement over Mario 64 at times. But I'm willing to look past a lot of that because I'm enjoying myself, and in a way, it's a perfect time capsule of Nintendo around this time. Nintendo Sega the GameCube was a company that was seemingly way more experimental and willing to try such weird things of all their IP and hardware. This was an era where we got 2 first-person Metroid games, a Star Fox game that was basically Rare's attempt at a Zelda game, and Nintendo working with third-party developers in some exciting and bizarre ways. And that's not getting into the one E3 where their big showcase was Pac-Man Vs, where Nintendo execs were joined by game design luminary Will Wright, or bizarre accessories like the e-reader. In some ways, I kinda miss this era of Nintendo. Even though they were lagging behind the competition, seeing them try all these weird strategies was fascinating and led to some unique and interesting games and features. It's conclusively way more interesting and far less depressing than the Wii U era, which just felt directionless. So where does that leave Super Mario Sunshine in the end? Well, it's stuck between 2 of Nintendo's best platforming efforts, but it doesn't feel like that weird middle child you never really talk about. In its own right, it's a fascinating and flawed game, and emblematic of Nintendo in a strange time. It's a game that marches to the beat of its own drum, and if it can somehow convince me after all these years to actually accept it, I guess it can't be that bad after all.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Quiz Time event where we quiz the New Game Plus crew on the recent happenings in the world of gaming news in the past fortnight. There's been a lot of news otherwise, but we're going to keep it to games for this one. I am joined this edition by Jack, by Jamie, and by Jason. We have a winner, and we have Jason.
Okay, Galia beat me fair and square, beat me by like a point.
And I'm a cheater.
He's a cheater.
I'm a cheater.
This is fucked, I hate it.
Absolutely.
So,
hands
okay,
down.
so if you don't win this time, you're banned from this, right?
Well, if you cheat, then you...
I don't cheat.
Collusion in the industry.
You become
collusion
the,
in the gaming
you become the
industry. I
Alan
warned you
Davies
all.
and no one deserves that.
Yeah.
Anyways, you compete this week. You are competing.
/New Game Plus in action.
You are competing for this fine chocolate bar.
Sick.
For the winner goes to Spore. So Jason, you've got some extra incentive to win this time.
Look,
For the-
if it was Meiji Dark, yes. If it was Meiji Milk,
What is it?
okay.
well,
is it-
it's
oh,
only
it's
slightly
milk.
melted, so yeah, let's go with this.
So what, do we have to buzz in and say the full Jack first?
Yeah, wait until I finish the
Okay,
question, and then
please.
put your hand up, say your name, do
Right.
whatever, signal that you're first. So let's just get straight into it. Let's just get straight into the biggest story of this past fortnight. How many people will be attending the 2020 Electronic Entertainment
Jamie.
Expo? Jamie?
You hadn't finished the question. You're cheating again. Straight away you're cheating. You hadn't even finished the fucking question.
Jamie?
Jamie got
Well,
it first.
that is a big fat round 0.
Yes, that is a 0.
That's what his score should be, because they're cheating already.
Jamie got the point there.
Oh my fucking
Yeah.
God.
Can he be
Well,
disqualified because he got in too
yeah.
early? Let's
Of-
do that.
Yeah, of course, E3 and many other gaming expos around the world have been affected by COVID-19. So we'll continue to see the ramifications of that for the time to come. In the meantime, Jamie, you have 1 point. The people who are hoarding toilet paper, minus 1,000 points.
Thank you.
The creator of the TV show Chernobyl, Craig Mazin, has announced his next TV project. What
Jamie.
is it? You're in too early, Jason.
Get fucked.
Jamie?
That'd be The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
How was
is
I too
correct.
early? If I was too early, this is dumb. This is just cheating.
Jamie
now.
was too early before.
This is way too.
I will
dumb.
not answer the next question. How's
No,
that?
I don't want you to. I don't want you to let me win. I just want you to not cheat. But I guess that's not in
cheating.
your blood.
I'm not
This is dumb.
cheating.
This is dumb.
There's no
Twice
bitterness.
now. Twice you cheated.
Okay, I'm going to have to. I don't have a yellow card on me, but eventually I'm going to have to give you a purple card, Jason.
I like purple. It's a good colour.
Murasaki even.
Yeah. Foreshadowing there.
Yeah, wow, crazy.
At a recent FIFA qualifier, after players couldn't determine the match outcome in game, how did they eventually determine a winner? You can put your hand up now, Jason.
And you can tell what we know.
Coin toss.
No.
Jamie. Want to say rock, paper, scissors?
Actually, yes. Rock, paper, scissors.
I do not know. I
Ooh, man.
spent too much time on the internet. I'm sorry.
Yes,
little
because
bit
of,
broken.
because of server issues, they couldn't actually connect to the game, so they had to resolve it somehow. Rock, paper, scissors. Hey, Jason, I feel a little bad for you. Rock, paper, scissors. If you win, you get a point.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You had your chance.
Trust the old rock.
Never fails. What is the name of the Star Wars project which recently leaked onto the PlayStation Store? Really, no one knows.
Star Wars in 2020.
Yeah, who'd have
Jamie?
thought it? Jamie?
I'm going to take a wild stab at this. I actually, this is just a wild guess. I think it's like Project Mayhem or something like that.
No, you're close. Project Maverick.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West was a movie. It was a
I'm going
different
to-
I was thinking of thinking close to the Fight Club there, but sure,
I
whatever.
would watch a Star Wars with the Will Smith character from Wild Wild West.
movie. Wild Wild West.
Exactly.
Desperado.
Which platformer recently returned to digital stores after being delisted in August?
Jamie.
Jamie?
DuckTales Remastered.
That is DuckTales Remastered.
You do spend a lot of time on the internet.
I'm sorry.
And how did fans react to that news?
They sang the song probably? I don't know.
I was just looking for a woohoo. Come on.
Woohoo!
There we go. Okay, now I'm going to follow. Now, here's a question. I'm going to follow Price is Right rules here. I'll give you all a shot. How much did a prototype Nintendo PlayStation sell for at auction? I'll give you the first go, Jack.
I was hoping. I think it was. Are we talking like US?
US
or Austra-
dollars.
US dollars.
And it is hundreds of thousands of dollars we're talking about here.
I think it was 300.
$300,000, Jamie?
Okay.
$300,000.
320,000.
You priced it right well, Jason, because
Oh, 319,999.
$360,000 US dollars
cool.
the Nintendo PlayStation went for.
Hey, you got a
Purchased by Greg McLemore, who is the founder of Pets.com.
Are you going to do the bonus question of how much he originally got offered?
Oh, that
Do you know?
1.2 million.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you that for initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even cheat.
He's not even bitter. I swear to God.
not
it's totally
cheating.
fine.
Brian
Wait till the
MP
question.
At least I can admit
Yeah.
it.
Brian MP16 was the first person to collect 1 billion watts.
MP16.
I'll say, like, it would make him, I'll give you a clue, it would make him a billionaire.
Jamie?
Jamie?
I want to say gamer score.
No. Jason?
Billionaire makes me think of like a pinball machine. Did he got like the highest score in a pinball machine of over 1 billion
No.
points?
Jack?
No, I have no idea.
He was the first to get 1 billion bells in Animal Crossing, making him a billionaire.
How did we not get that?
That is-
Well, specifically, how did you not get that?
not get that, Jason? Finally.
Oy.
Where's my review?
Yeah, finally, Riot recently revealed its 5v5 shooter Valorous. I'm going to give you the names of various things. You need to tell me whether they are characters from Valorous or minor characters from the Matrix
Can
films.
I get a point if I correct the name? Because it's Valorant.
Valorant. Why
That
did
is
I write
true.
Valorant?
That is true, actually.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
give him a point for that.
No.
Fuck.
Just
We're not getting this monetized on YouTube.
another minus 10 points to the toilet paper hoarders.
God damn.
Okay, so Cypher. Are they a character from Valorant or the Matrix?
Matrix.
Jamie?
Valorant.
Yeah, Valorant.
Valorant.
Yeah, party.
Dozer.
Valorant.
Matrix.
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 I don't know either of these things, so I'm actually worse off than both of you.
You have a 50-50 shot here, Jack.
I'm not
He's
doing well
too
so
young
far.
to remember Matrix.
Seraph.
14 years old. Valorant.
Matrix.
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 Proven.
Omen.
Valorant.
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 Yeah, cool.
Jet. With 2 T's.
A specific distinction. I like it. I like it.
Like he's from the Fortnite stream.
Stormhawks or what? Like, Valorant.
Valorant.
Yeah, I gotta say Valorant on that one too.
Valorant is correct. Jason, Jamie, you're tied on this particular round. You need to switch things up here. Sorry. Switch things up.
Terrible.
Finally, Reinhardt. Valorant or Matrix?
I really hate this question because one of them is correct.
And it hates you too.
Valorant?
It has to be Matrix because there's no way they'd risk getting sued. Blizzard love to sue. Ask Valve.
I
But
mean,
they weren't the first workplace to harass all of their. Anyway, sorry.
So you said Valorant or
I would say Matrix.
Jamie?
I would think Riot do not give a damn, and I would say Valorant.
It is Matrix.
Oh.
So I think for that effort, I'll give you, Jason, 3 points. I'll give you, Jamie, 2 points, and Jack, one tiny little point
Why?
there.
You didn't get me right.
So
Consolation point.
Because I think we learned that he needs to go watch the Matrix trilogy. Well, okay, maybe just the first film. Maybe just the first film.
You can make me watch. Yeah.
What's the fourth one?
No, we didn't talk about that.
Thomas is going
the
to
Animatrix is really good, you know.
It was.
Actually, no, it is good. It is genuinely good.
And at the end of all that, Jack, you ended this session on 1 point.
incredible.
Jamie, you scored 6 points with that healthy bit at the start. And Jason, you caught up, but you only ended up on 5 points.
You're all fucked. Just remember, this is what it takes for them to beat me, to cheat. They have to cheat to win. And I normally encourage that, but not when I'm the victim. So let's just leave that.
Have your purple card.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll
take it.
I think chocolate's okay, I guess. I mean, I wish I had some salt to go with it, but yeah, I guess it's okay.
You got
Oh,
plenty.
I'm giving you the fucking salt. Don't worry about that.
So, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jason. And thank you, viewers, for watching another edition of Quiz Time Event. We'll have plenty more in the time to come.
Jack gets classical with Pokemon Mystery DX.
Not all Pokemon spin-offs are created equal. Some, like Pokepark and Pinball, are fun distractions, while stuff like the Ranger series saw something of a cult following in its wake. In the same vein, the Mystery Dungeon series has been dormant since 2015, with fans praying for a sequel, even one a tiny bit better than Gates to Infinity. Nintendo heard these calls, and in an effort to maintain the blue balls of Diamond and Pearl remake hopefuls, they've released a remaster of the Red and Blue dungeons in Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Deluxe. While it does a good job of inspiring nostalgia of the Red and Blue originals, is that really what we want in 2020? In Rescue Team Deluxe, you have been transformed from a human to a Pokemon, and as the world is falling apart around you, a little bit relatable, a partner Pokemon convinces you to join forces as a rescue team, providing services and rescuing Pokemon in distress. Instead of encountering Pokemon in tall grass as normal, battle and exploration go hand in hand within the procedurally generated dungeons. Battle is pretty straightforward though, and unless you rush through story missions, you're unlikely to face much challenge in the dungeons themselves. However, unlike in the originals, the game has been rebalanced, so that boss fights aren't completely at odds with exploration, at least to some extent. These changes make it a much more pleasant experience at length, where the originals could on occasion be quite frustrating. The problem you can run into after a while is a lack of variety. The same 4 to 5 goals are used in most quests with only items, locations, and Pokemon changing each time. For the first half of the game, there is ample opportunity to grind and recruit Pokemon, should you be particularly keen to. However, if that's not your thing, you'll find yourself mostly led by the story, which is still a nice departure from the mainline Pokemon series. I've really enjoyed the game's aesthetics, though through a few friends I found them to be somewhat divisive. It's presented in a storybook-like art style, inspired by the title screen backgrounds of the originals. While the game can sometimes seem a little lacking in detail, some smaller features like the white halo around characters and the pencil sketch-like shadows revealed as Pokemon move around the screen delight. The soundtrack has also been updated, with just the right balance of intensity and subtlety, something that previous remasters like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire stumbled with at times. While it's not particularly offensive to Dungeon fans, thankfully, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Deluxe isn't going to blow you away. Dungeon games never really blew anyone away. But if you've just recently gotten through a Let's Go or Sword and Shield and you're wanting more, it's a fun romp for mainline series regulars.
All right, so Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, whatever the hell it's called.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Deluxe was originally 2 separate games.
Yes.
That was cross-gen. It was one on the Game Boy Advance and one on the DS.
DS, correct.
Weird.
There was not many of those games out there nowadays that did the cross-platform.
No. And I mean, yeah, pour one out for the DS, one of the great consoles.
Phenomenal.
Of all time. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely fantastic.
I even love the old design. The old, it's got to survive a fall out of a man's business shirt pocket. The average Japanese man is 168 centimeters tall.
Oh, yeah.
They have to be able to survive a fall from that height to the ground on a crowded platform. That was literally what they.
I have one. It has not. I don't. It is fallen
Too tall,
apart.
Gaijin, too tall.
Yeah, true, I'm a bit
I
taller.
think out of all of the iterations of the DS, I think that was the best throwback to Game & Watch as well. The
Yeah.
clamshell
yeah.
design,
And
you can't beat it.
PictoChat, like, I mean, I love this.
I love the DS Lite though.
Yeah.
DS Lite was phenomenal, and it really, as much as it was on both platforms, I think it was more something to be congratulated that the teams made it feel native on both systems. Like it kind of felt a little, because it was on the cusp, we hadn't gotten so far into DS territory that it was like GBA was so separated. Like when you look at 3D games on the Game Boy Advance, God, they look like garbage.
Yeah, but 2D games on that look amazing. Like
they look solid.
Like treasure games, like the Game Boy Advance was a solid console.
It was phenomenal.
But it was just when it kind of came out, it was that was when it was really one of those real generational jumps, because we went from these really tiny pixelated screens to not so tiny pixelated screens, but stuff like PictoChat, social gaming, that really started to become a thing with the DS. And I guess it's interesting that that's the game that Nintendo have decided that they're going to remake. Like, because has it got the two versions on the Switch, or how do they do it?
It's just one. So they've kind of consolidated. I honestly could not tell you some of the bigger differences between the originals. Right. Like some of the functionality they actually had unique to the DS version, where you could use wireless communication, all the rest of it. So you could, instead of having like rescuing your mate from them dying or trading like Wonder Trade or whatever the hell it was called on the DS, some of those features have been put online now. So you can, when you die in a dungeon, I'm pretty sure you can kind of like ping Nintendo servers and be like, hey, rescue me. Right now, there are plenty of people playing it, so you'll be able to get rescued. In a year or two's time, maybe not. But yeah, there's only one game. It is Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Deluxe, not Red and Blue. It's just the one game.
Okay. It's not really the first time that they've done this either, or at least for the Mystery Dungeon games, because you also had the Explorers of Sky, which was the next game. Which was,
Time.
So it was like Shadows in Time, but it was essentially like the Emerald version of that. So it was the quintessential game, and I highly recommend you pick that up. Because it is a phenomenal game. It's actually a very mature Pokemon story as well. Like, a lot of people sit there and go like, oh, Pokemon Black and White was so emotional. It's like, you never played Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time, did you? Gotcha.
And plus, I mean, if you're a furry, Mystery Dungeon is obviously the pick because you play as Pokemon. So, like,
how would you know that?
I'm just going off what I've been told. What I've been told. Yeah, the people on this crew, come on, man. Like, let's be real. Like,
Brandon is over there and he's looking at me funny. Yes, but I would highly recommend if Mystery Dungeon does well as far as sales go, I really hope, like, pray to God, # make this happen, that Explorers of Sky is next.
Look, they obviously were very keen to maintain the blue balls of those hoping to get a Diamond and Pearl re-release. I think that Explorers of Sky is the next step in that process.
It's just logical.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind either.
I would say the big thing for me is that Nintendo at the moment, after Animal Crossing, have no big games coming out.
It's so weird. It's barren. Yeah. Like, what?
So I wouldn't be surprised if they do a bunch more remakes, and then they have Metroid or Zelda or whatever at the end of the year, and then go from there. So we shall see. But anyway, guys, that is the end of it. Thank you very much for joining us. But don't forget to check us out on newgameplus.tv, on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, all those places, New Game Plus TV. This is one of our last sessions in the RMIT studios, unfortunately. So we'll still be bringing you content. It just may not look like this for a while. But we'll hopefully see you guys very, very soon. And don't forget to check out some of the cool news that we've got for you that should be released by the time this episode goes. That's me teasing you to go check it out. newgameplus.tv. See you next time.